Well, hello and welcome to the Zwift Racing League here on Zwift Community Live. We are into the Americas for today for race number 2, round number 3, 2024. Nathan Guerra, Dave Towle. Next to me, we're going to be covering the Americas East for the B1 women, as well as Americas East for the B1 men today. Out on the Island Hopper, we've got 8 sprints plus a finish line, Dave, and it has been mayhem in Urakazi. The Shisha have taken control, I think, out there today, and they are terrorizing things because every single race has gone absolutely ballistic. I mean, it's been a reduced field across the board. I don't think a single one of these sprints have come down to more than 15 people.
Yeah, selective. The Shisha apparently are extremely selective as far as who they let through the door, because you're exactly right. The groups just get smaller and smaller as the race goes on. It seems like 8 sprints through 36K is about the maximum amount of sprint that you can put into this race and still have riders able to walk when they get off their bikes at the end of the race. It's been one of the more challenging, for these B women. You're looking around 50 plus minutes of racing. But again, it's this intensity. Relentless might be a good word for the course today, Nathan.
Yeah, and let's get right down into it. 10 seconds to go. Ladies are in the pens, as you can see. The current standings, here they are. ATP Racing Honeybees are at the top at 20 points right now, winning the first race outright.
This is the kind of day where we could see big changes on this leaderboard as we head into the second race of 6. It's been an amazing day of racing here as we roll out now here in the Americas. And yeah, I mean, Nathan, typically, the first sprint comes at you very quickly. We talk about 8 sprints today. Well, boardwalk sprint, tide pool sprint, the climb to Shisha, that's really the critical sector out here. It's been devastating today. To be honest, it's the riders doing this themselves. Shisha sprint as well really coming into play. But so ATP Racing Honeybees, they come in on top of the table. It was really close through second, third, and fourth last week. As you can see, only 2 points separating Sisu from Synergy and Aeonian. The Dinos are right there in 5th, OTR in 6th, Revo Godivas always ready to strike back. And then let's see what Backwash Ladies could do. They put a 0 up on the board yesterday. Last week. I think that had to do with the number of riders that they had show up. So we'll see if they're in better shape out here today. But the first attack going clear, Nathan.
Actually, this is someone I think who had a dropout in the pens. Jessica Latro. Look at how much energy she's had to spend, right? Well, she's a cat, it looks like. But anyways, Jess here now, just trying to get back on terms. Look at the energy expenditure that had to happen here, though, going into this first sprint. That's absolutely insane to see. I've seen nothing but lots of fire coming from those fire socks she has on as well from the get-go here. Hopefully she can get back on terms quickly, but they're about to ramp things up right from the get-go too, right into the boardwalk here in just a moment. So that's a tough one for her.
Got to give credit the way she has fought back here. What a way to spend the first 2 minutes of the races. That would be the view that she had as she rejoins the group. So there's the positive. I guess another one would be she's got a better warm-up than the other riders in this group.
Yeah, here's Mira Davies now that we're jumping in with out of Canada. I'm liking that shot. That's up and over the top of what looks to be
it's a cyclocross flyover.
Yeah, flyover, but she's on a mountain bike. So maybe she was at a World Cup flyover or something other that was developed. That's definitely a mountain bike, though. So unless she was racing, I mean, then also the fact that there's a plate on the front tells me not a cyclocross race.
That's a mountain bike race.
Yeah.
Nope, that's it. Absolutely, Nathan. They're using your clues quite well there. So Davies here, this is such a strong group. I mean, we'll have a chance to start identifying the women, but a lot of these names, even though it's a B field, really recognizable, to tell you the truth.
Master now making a move immediately here before we even hit the boulevard. She's wanting some FAL, it looks like, or just maybe teasing something out. Interesting to take that move, though, so early going into boardwalk.
FTS, FAL, it's all in play today. This is a classic WTRL throwdown. She's gone into the FTS. This is the fastest through segment zone now. So we can talk about how heavily weighted it is with points there. You can't guarantee you're going to have the FTS this lap. There are 2 laps on this course, over 36K. Lot to talk about here with Arrow, Feather, and Draft as the power-ups as these women getting stuck in early. And she's going to pick it up. That's an impressive start.
Really, look at how fast they come flying through, though. Oh, man. It shows that they kind of they kind of waited there a little bit with like a sling. That slingshot tells me that nobody went until they hit the actual green banner. Because otherwise the speeds would have been everybody was watching because those speeds were so differentiated as Gina came through.
Yeah, so and it makes me think that she collects the 10 on the FAL, but I'm wondering how those FTS are going to be distributed. Probably going to be some riders who started near the front but not on the front in that chase group would be my thought, Nathan.
Randy Gino here. I'm liking this. Yeah, most likely. I would think so for sure. As big FTS focus on the first lap. That's really, really astute, Dave. But Randy, she took this picture just for that moment. It looks like perhaps we'll see if she gets a couple more of these post ups. A little early to post up as we're waiting for the final here, and it won't be until the 36K mark or so. OTR, though, they definitely showed up in force out here today. Plenty of those riders on the rivet. They, in the last couple of years, Dave, have made themselves a foundational team to Zwift Racing.
100%. I don't think anybody's going to be alone like that at the finish here today. They won't be in a big group either. It's only the strong survive situation. Is we can talk about now, Nathan, how the rhythm of this race, it's brutal, actually. This is going to become, for the strong men and women of Zwift, one of the favorite courses when you talk about Island Hopper. But next up is Tide Pool Sprint. That's going to be the sprint proper at 5.4, but same thing. We'll have an FTS out here as well. Nathan, we've talked throughout the day about how we expect these FTSs to fall on lap number 1. Although you never know, I think we did possibly see some second lap takedowns out there as we look at more riders coming back. I didn't realize we had a group that had to chase back in.
Yeah, a random dyno shows up here like out of nowhere. I just see a dyno kit. Got my eyes on you, Clark. Oh, crush it. Cassandra Rush talking track out here. Love it here. That's what we like to see. You know, it's all in good fun.
Stephanie Clark, probably the other end of that message. I'm thinking
I would not
ATP.
be surprised at all
right?
if it was, right? Stephanie Clark. I'm actually going to do something kind of fun here since Cassandra is making us push this a little bit. So let's go ahead and do so because the smack talk has started. So let's do the matchup. Here we go. It's going to be Cassandra Rush versus Stephanie Clark out here today. It looks like Stephanie has got the kick on her, but Cassandra at the 20 watts here. Oh, I mean, she's got to put up some numbers here up against Clark, it looks like to me.
These are two impressive women. I would not want to sprint in a dark alley with Stephanie Clark. I wouldn't want to sprint anywhere with Stephanie Clark. She makes some big.
Ooh, and I think I heard a loud pop there for a second. I'm wondering if we still got Dave, as I have a feeling. Dave, you there?
I'm here. No?
Okay, gotcha. Cool. That was interesting. Suddenly, no, I got you again. I got you. You're
Okay,
good to go.
good. That was nothing on my end, so now I'm here, if you can hear me.
Yeah, we got you on and off a little bit here. I think maybe there's an internet issue. I'm going to just double check on our end real quick here, Dave, as we just make sure that we've got everything running here real good. I'm going to check our stream as well. And it looks like we're good to go. So maybe there's a little bit of internet happening there, but we'll keep things rolling. As it looks like Lincoln trying to make a move here from Synergy. Interesting setup as well with the wheels. Taking lightweight wheels out here today, but with a Venge S-Works. That is quite the interesting setup, actually. 4 seconds up the road. If they wait again this time, there may be the ability here for her to stay away with only 2.0 or so on the front. You are looking good, Dave, just so you know.
Great. All right. So Tide Pool Sprint coming up next. She's getting out in front of it here. 3-4 seconds on the chasing peloton. Looking pretty good, to tell you the truth. Let's see what she can do here. We talked about what kind of a buffer you need with a group like this. 500 meters with 10 seconds and an all-out charge to a sprint. She's into the fastest through segment now. This is a play for FAL points. I'd imagine she's going to snatch the points, Nathan, and then sit up and rejoin the group, although we'll have to see how that plays out. Great job here by Heather Lincoln, though. She's going to make a nice move here, collect some points for Synergy, put those in the bank. FTS points, again, they're not confirmed until the second time through that segment. Here comes the sprint. So still 9 points waiting here for the Brazilian rider.
Yeah, and Chris, she's always been a really tough one to beat to the line. She's got a good kick, as it is going to be Chris here from Aeonian. Nice jump. Also has this Scotty, the squirrel cap, is the most popular, I think, in game right now with everybody leveling up. Level 75 Zwifter coming on through with a solid sprint for second, but it was, as we saw just a moment ago, just for second there. The FAL may be able to take the FTS though for first on this lap. That's what we're going to see a lot. Dave, is that a counter coming through? I mean, that is a fast moving avatar. That doesn't look like just speed that is on accident here at this point, as it is going to be Revo at 6.2 watts per kilogram off the front. Boychuk now coming out of Canada. Orisha Boychuk now on the move.
And I have to be honest, this is a new name to me here in this time zone. Orisha here, level 60 Zwifter, so far from new to Zwift. She's showing them a clean rear wheel here, Nathan, as we make our way on to, well, really, next big feature that they have is going to be Shisha Sprint. So this is the biggest interval, the gap between points that we have out on course here today. So sort of a time when you thought maybe riders would lay back a little bit, but not Alicia Boychuk, is now we're looking at a catch being made, and that's going to be Cassandra Rush kind of up and over the top. So they're going to be very, very active in our women's B race out there as the men are hitting out on course now for the first of 2 laps as Island Hopper underway over there. We'll be also joining our men's Bs today as they get out onto course. They'll be sprinting at Boardwalk here in just a couple of minutes. The action will intensify. It's been full gas out here for the women, Nathan, as I take a look at it's good to see some new blood out there in this field. And Boychuk, obviously an animator and dictator on the front of this field.
Yeah, nicely done by her to give a little bit of a punch. It looked like maybe it might have been a little bit of worry for a second there. Found herself off the front and then just continued on with it. And now they are hitting the corkscrew. This next section is going to be a tough one to try and a lot of times to try and get some separation and maybe even put some heart rates up as they head into the Shisha Sprint. Looks like all Grupo Compacto, though, everybody kind of getting the idea that this isn't going to maybe go anywhere, maybe saving up for the climb proper. As we do see what looks to be a couple of feather power-ups, though, going off here from the ATP team. That is going to
Carolyn
be...
Jones.
Is that who's pushing on the front there?
Yeah, Carolyn Jones out of Texas here. I've talked about her over the last few years, a very, very active racer on the United team, a cornerstone in her racing community down there in Austin. And boy, they better watch out this season. If Carolyn Jones is racing, there's her United kit. That's a great team, a bunch of really, really talented, fun women. It's very much like what we see here in this community, to tell you the truth. Super supportive. And Carolyn Jones, over the last 5 or 6 seasons, she's been a multi-time master national champion in the baby masters group. She's really not that old. You'd think when I talk about masters that if you saw Carolyn, you'd think that she's just out of high school, to tell you the truth. It's meant as a huge compliment, which is deserved. Is Carolyn Jones right now is going to make a real move, Nathan. When it goes out over 5 seconds, there's a certain legitimacy to an attack like that. Dangling a couple seconds out there is a statement. This is an outright purposeful move right now that we're looking at from the ATP Racing Honeybees, another legacy squad. So Jones here, biggest move of the evening.
Yeah, she's got a good distance here too, and it can pay off on this downhill. 52 kilometers per hour on this downhill versus what we're seeing now from the main pack. They will get a little bit of advantage on her because of that roll-through speed from the main pack, but they're all spread across the way here. So I have a feeling perhaps that this is going to maybe stick a little bit more. Maybe a few coming across on the Shisha Sprint. Let's jump on in with the men here real quickly as they are starting their first boardwalk kick. Williams from the Swamis was off the front. ATP Neon here on the move as well, very early. Both of them just for FAL, not for FTS, as I would think, as they're going to get a lot of advantage behind. It's going to be Friedel now able to take this down first across the line. See Williams for second, Maskey here for third. That's your FAL. We'll take a look at the FTS perhaps in a second here. Actually, I can actually bring up a leaderboard perhaps. Let me see if I can get that here. No data. Hey, thanks a lot there, guys. I'm not going to get nothing. All right. Well, we don't even got that.
Hey, you
Well, at least we
tried.
got something.
Can say you didn't try. So typically, Nathan, so early here, we see this regrouping. I wonder when it doesn't. It's only a matter of time until someone decides to go big. We have seen not a wire-to-wire attack, but Nathan, we've seen riders get gaps. I mean, I'm wondering with Carolyn Jones on the women's side, when that gap goes over 20, 25 seconds, there's a time when you hit that fish or cut bait kind of thing, where at some point you realize that we're not going to bring that rider back. That ship has sailed. We'll see if that's the case. This is how things stand now after the first race of the season. A really different race on the other end of the spectrum as Team CLS Big Rigs take the top spot. OTR Boost was second. You can see it stacks up 1 point at a time based on all of your riders' finishing positions, those points that they earned at FTS, FAL, and the finish line added together. And then we see how they end up in this table with OTR Boost second, Draft B third, ATP Racing Neon. Again, these are our Bs that we're looking at, and Australian Hump Day Ride. The Bison there holding on to a top 5 spot, Cryogen at 6. You can see Team F3, the E-Punks there at 7th, AAVC Swamis, that legendary squad out of Southern California, and also one of the most popular group rides in American cycling history is the Swamis ride. And then OTE Cyclopaths with Team USMESB1 rounding out our top 10. So that's how things stand. This is the peloton. Riders inching off the front. Very, very familiar names. Cryo. It looks like they're going to be very active today.
DW1. Here we go. Jay Hastings elite now. Trying to make a move as they head on over toward the tide pool. Not sure he's going to be able to hold here. We'll see. Over on the other side of things, ATP got 2 up. Caroline, they tried making the juncture, the whole group. The only one who was able to come across was Bartlett, it looks like, teammate of Carolyn Jones. Now the Honeybees, though, maybe going backwards a little bit. Jones unable to hold on to the teammate that is Bartlett now at this point. But that's okay as a launch pad, perhaps, to try and grab the FAL for the Shisha sprint. And it does look like Bartlett's able to get some distance here.
Yeah, it looks to me like maybe the game plan might have been have Jones go up the road, get the chase initiated, and then counter off of that with Bartlett to go pick up those points at the top of Shisha. That's where the Shisha sprint is. This is a majority of the climbing that you're doing out here. Here's Carrie Bartlett, absolutely crushing souls out here right now. She's holding them off on the climb. So, Nathan, let's see if Bartlett can hold on and pick up those points.
Yeah, there's a big chase underway, though, with Lincoln coming from Team Synergy behind now at this point. Again, this is the rider that got away on the tide pool. Can Lincoln make it happen here? Okay, Hull's there as well. Watch out for her up into 5.2 watts per kilogram. Tim Wells there from Aeonian, just following wheels at this point, as this is Kristen Holdel that is right onto the wheel of the teammate for Synergy, perhaps getting a lead out to try and take down ATP in just a moment.
All right, so looks like she's done some time on a time trial ramp. That's some legitimate experience. That's bigger than a local race when you see that ramp out here for Kristen Hole here, the Synergy rider. It has strung out from tip to tail. Big moment here. It looks like Bartlett is just about to be brought back into the fold. The sprint line here. Again, we've got FTS and FAL coming up. Shisha sprint at 10.7, so 500 meters to go. I apologize. Bartlett not brought back. She's still holding them off. You got to give credit where it's due, and she's scraping the bottom of the wattage barrel out here right now. Look how the hungry wolves right at her wheel, but they can't quite close down this gap. Bartlett might be stronger than they think. You can see the arch just up the road. Let's see if Carrie can hold on. She's into the segment now, so this is the final 300 meters that we're looking at. That's going to be Yvonne Timewell there. Yvonne trying to crush this dream.
Yeah, it looks like Timewell might be able to get the better of her. Bartlett now opening up to 7.6 watts per kilogram. Not going to be enough, though, it looks like, as Yvonne able to make it happen behind a battle for second. But Timewell timing it right there and taking a snooze as well. The puppy's hanging out with her. Loving it.
That looks like a good boy, doesn't it? or good
Yes,
girl, whichever the case.
yes, it does. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely love it. As the men just had a nice little sprint, actually. I'll see if I can get a replay of what went down there in just a moment on the men's side of things. They went through Tide Pool just a moment ago, and it was Patnaud as well as Brackens and a few others on a breakaway to grab some FAL. They also had a good FTS battle. See if we can bring that in just a second. But focusing in on the ladies, they make their way downhill off of the Shisha sprint into their 12-kilometer marker. Things are going to calm down for probably a little bit here, Dave, before they hit their next Tide Pool sprint.
There's a few women that are hoping that you're correct, to tell you the truth, Nathan. At the back of this group, it has been a rough ride. But you are exactly right, as it looks like we're going to see a good half dozen riders able to rejoin in a moment, as it's that ebb and the flow out here today. We're going to be going back now to Tide Pool Sprint one more time, but it's another relatively long gap here. We're 5K away from that sprint, and this will be another burner. This is one of the laps where you're almost sure the FTS will be distributed this time through.
Quick little replay here from the men's sprint just a moment ago. We actually didn't have the front end of the race, just the pack here. This is going to be Johnson from Giant HTR as well as Hat there that were able to get away from the Schwammies. Then a big kick from Friedel, ATP Neon, as you can see. The ramp up here from the rest of the pack. Lots of riders coming flying by. So nicely done by all of them. We looked to try and grab the front of it here, and we almost did, but it was going to be Friedel from ATP that was able to hold off for second, Johnson for first, and Fije for Coalition that was in for third place across. They did catch everybody. It's all back together again amongst the men. So that's the current situation. As we rejoin, though, they're about to hit, as you can see, the corkscrew now as we rejoin them. And all the way back in 50 seconds, some of the riders that were up toward the front. So things getting a little crazy as it's Ned Bowen, our man here from Draft, making moves on the front.
Team?
Nothing but red on the front here, Dave.
Yeah, I feel like I'm looking at the old Russian team time trial here on the front as we take a look at the draft team making a big move here. Now, this is early in the race, just out of the Tide Pool Sprint melee. This climb is going to be critical. I have a feeling that draft came in and said, let's do some damage on that Shisha climb out here. They got out a little bit in front of that even. Big play from draft. This is nice to see. Ned Bowen's become a very popular rider out here, races with a lot of panache, and it's a 3-rider move going clear. Haven't seen this since the good old BL13 days.
Yeah, this is a very coordinated move. I like what I see. They got to commit to it, though. OTR trying to respond. It looks like this is going to put alarm bells off, though, to try and bring this back. I like that they waited for this moment, though, Dave, and said, look, we know that on the dirt they can make something happen, but they need that third man. They really do. Thomas is going back now at this point. All right, well, 2 up for FAL. Not a bad situation. Not as good of a situation, obviously, but that may calm things down in the pack a little bit. They may give this a little more leash than they would have 3.
Boy, I don't think you can, honestly, Nathan. I mean, you're right. 3 is absurd. 2 is still such a danger.
They're committed. Look what he just did. Ned just used an arrow power up. Are you kidding? Like, wow, yeah. Full commitment.
Yeah, interesting play because they are now 2.7K away from the next point. So the guys back in the peloton, this is one of those moments. It's maybe a little more subtle, but the peloton right now has decided to let draft run this one out. Looks like they've stabilized this at 6 seconds. I'm going to be really interested to see if these two pick up top points, and that'll make this play, it'll validate everything they're doing, or are they tilting at windmills out here? This is what racing is all about. When you talk about risk reward, these guys decided to go heavy on the risk early, and that always makes for really exciting racing. Draft knows what they're doing. Peloton not going to play around. It looks like they've clamped down at 7 seconds, Nathan, is my thought, maybe even 6. It looks like they're not giving any more time to these two. Again, Bowen and Bowman, the 2 draft riders, have linked up, and they're making a run at it.
USMES did the work for a moment. Now it's backed off, though. See, now they have to coordinate. This isn't just, with the way the pack dynamics work now, Bowen goes to the front at 4.7 watts per kilogram. If these boys don't match, now they might just be trusting the climb to just put the pace high enough all the way through here.
I think
but
so.
Now as you see, Swami's goes 6.4, but he's going across. This is about making a juncture, not pulling the pack.
Well, absolutely. So, as a matter of fact, Flores here, the Swami's rider, is not impacting their advantage on the group. That stays at 6 seconds. He's now into no man's land, which is fine, as it looks like the Colombian rider is opening up the throttle. Same thing happening now with Harding here. So, rather than working cohesively as a group to try to bring them back, but I think now we're starting to fill this in like the bearing straight, Nathan. We've seen this before. The gap, though, still relatively large, but I have a feeling this may backfire on draft.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Now, the pace is hard enough behind, though. They're all going to sit up and just look for some reprieve the moment that the catch is made. Then we might have a couple in the pack that got a good amount of draft and come right over the top here. We'll see what happens, though. Flores, though, right over the top. Loving to see it. Can Bowen grab on? Is going to be the big question now. Bowen going backwards here. Flores just continues past.
Yeah, I mean, Flores didn't even hesitate for a moment to see if he wanted to work with the draft riders. He's on his own. This man is a missile right now as we take a look at the Swami's rider. So he really, I mean, that whole play from draft now seems like it was minutes ago, as this is a whole new story, as the Colombian rocket ship on the front is Flores. And still a ways to go, though. I mean, you want to make definitive statements at times doing this, but, I mean, Flores is now going to be the hunted, as there's still a strong group out here that are licking their lips at the points that are sitting up at the top, over the top of the Shisha climb. The Shisha sprint is next. It's certainly not going to be a sprint, though, as these guys are all in on this climb.
They are real quickly here, just seeing that Gino taking down the sprint there for the tide pool for the ladies. We'll jump back across to them in just a moment to get a look at what that sprint was like. But as the men are taking on their Shisha sprint, OTR and crew over on the women's side of things are mopping up some points. But Flores continuing on with his attack. He's only got 3 seconds, so at this point is Mike from OTR also now. A little bit of another kick here. Flores maybe going a little bit too early as Dipster now also right on the wheel coming out. French flag.
Here comes everybody.
Right there. Yeah, it is. I mean, this is look, I mean, every 1, 2, 3. This is strung out.
You have to respect this climb. I mean, the Shisha climb has done damage throughout the day at every single level. And, I mean, I'm not throwing shade on these riders. They've been super aggressive, but here's the problem. Sitting back in that group, you can keep a charge on your battery, and that's exactly what we're looking at now as Flores. We're going to see the sector start in just a moment here. There it is. We are now on the clock, and look out, as these guys should hold on for the points at least. Flores might even pick up the 10. I have a feeling he's going to get rolled at the line by Duboiser. Or maybe not. Flores, the Colombian, really, really strong. As a matter of fact, he's going to get the points. I don't know about the FTS, but 10 points there for him, 9 for Duboiser. Mike coming through for 8. Harding for 7, it looks like. So we'll keep distributing those points down from 10 to 1, but the FTS points start at 20.
Going way back in the pack here to figure out where exactly this might all come back together. It looks to me like Tyson, and maybe even a little further back than that, is going to be where we're calling it as far as being able to hang on. Here we go with Maskey just barely. It's Gilligan from Dirt, as well as the rest of this pack here on the chase. I think these guys are out of contention now for a top 20 at this point. That's the split, unless we see a major chase at this point, Dave. But I have a feeling that's going to be in the Shisha sprint. We've seen it time and again so far. It is the decision moment. I have a feeling that we're all going to get back together up ahead here, though. If they do calm down, it looks like they are at the front.
Boy, yeah. I mean, for a brief moment there, it looked like the 10 riders could go clear. That'll gobble up most of the points on the way to the finish line. But this group, very attentive. Look how hard they are racing out here now on the island hopper, Nathan. So it's not for a lack of will, but this group is going to regroup. I mean, it's hard to call that regrouping, to tell you the truth. That's more what we're talking about when you look at regrouping here. Is the women are just about to complete lap number 1, heading out for the second tour of Makuri.
Yeah, and we got back in with our Gino, as we did see her just take down a sprint a moment ago. See, Randy Gino is who we're talking about here. And this was the rider early on that we did see. So she's been taking down plenty of sprints so far. And definitely her and Cassandra Rush, I think, at the back, having a little conversation perhaps about what's up in the plans going forward. I mean, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders still available for any kind of moves that OTR definitely want to make. So they, I think, have a major advantage right now when it comes to numbers.
I would agree. Another thing I'm noticing, Nathan, as you take a look at, behind the riders' avatars, is almost every one of these women seems to be an in real life bike racer or triathlete. But in this case, I'm actually talking about bike racing. I would think, just my hunch is, this might be one of the most active racing groups that folks that race with us here on Zwift and get out and hold a USA Cycling or Canadian Cycling license and race as well. More than half of these women are recognizable from the American peloton, which is incredibly cool to see them racing here together in this B group here tonight.
That's a really good point, actually, Dave. Really great to see that. And, American Bike Racing definitely getting Whitney Whip Stidham. I like this. This is, who is Whitney? What is going on with this? I
like the cut of her jib, though, just on the name.
Tennessee weather right now. All right, Whitney.
That's a Saturday Night Live character.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live, 100%. She's got some good attitude and fun, that's for sure.
Having a sense of humor with esports racing is an asset it's an asset in life, isn't it? But the OTR ladies certainly bring it. Look at the size of this group coming back into the field. We've seen this all day long, which is the hope theorem, right? Never give up. And it looks like Sisu's going to go right through this group. Both of those riders were chasing back. I don't know if that's just a little extra momentum or a, hey, how are you? I'm back. Let's do this. That's a last name that if you love bike racing, you'd be familiar with as Ulrich, or if you love Metallica, Lars Ulrich, their drummer, but that's not Lars, that's L. Ulrich in our women's race on the Sisu team, the Vuelta edition.
Let's jump in with Lisa Ulrich. Good to see her coming out of Canada.
Lisa.
It looks like she's got plenty of firepower left on a gravel bike. It looks like, is that a gravel? Maybe. I mean, otherwise it's a pretty
it's
wide
really
tire.
Hard to tell. Exactly. She's kind of right in between there. A good, when you look at it, though, someone who's clearly, again, out there in real life racing as well. This is not a spin class, is a good way to put it. Here we go. Another attack coming out, or actually repositioning in this group as Heather Lincoln has been one.
All the spin class people are offended.
I'm just throwing shade on them. That's
yeah,
okay.
100%. That's more than okay. Take the heat. Yep, take it. Take the heat for sure. It's got Chris from Aeonian now on the kick. She's been really good so far tonight. Can she hold on? That feather power is going to help her out a little bit to the line. They're coming quickly, though. I think she just barely does it there. Jones, time well. Then it's going to be Dutton from OTR. Well, is this going to cause another split, I wonder?
I don't think so, Nathan, because every time I've thought that, it didn't. And you can see how strung out this is. I mean, that's a soccer pitch and a half from the front of the group to the back of the group, more than 100 meters. But I think that all comes back together over on the men's side of things. So the women out on lap 2, the men have just about entered the tide pool sprint sector here. So they're going to be throwing down. Ben is the of course, 5-second advantage right now.
He jumped off of the dirt section into the tide pool champagne gravel, we're calling it. And it looks like he might be able to hold on to this one. He's got a little bit of chase behind, but they're giving up, it looks like. This comes back real fast amongst the men. We saw 10 seconds wiped out during that green. He's only got 6 here, so during this green jersey sprint, I don't know. Maybe they're coming fast, Dave.
No, they definitely come fast. Now, this looks like it might be an alternate surface. It's going to ride like tarmac here. I still think he's going to make it. He's going to jump.
He's going to jump. Oh, he just barely does. You were right, Dave. Yep, to the line. Oh, man, that was a close one. Liking it.
Stay positive, Nathan. That's my message.
Well, wait. I was positive. I was positive that the group was going to catch him.
That's why we make them race, and we don't just talk about it. That's for sure. Parsegian, there's a great name to Team F3 rider on the front. So the guys, Nathan, power-ups today, they get distributed throughout the race. They're going to be looking for amongst the big three out here today, Arrow, Feather, Draft. We've really seen all of them have a major impact. So looking at some regrouping happening on the men's side of things, the women are a pretty tight peloton here. As they next up for them out on lap 2 is going to be Tide Pool Sprint coming up. Well, the sector starts at 23K in.
Well, we spoke about OTR. Are they all here still? I think they are all here. This is going to be the crew to watch out for, I think, today with this. They have Rebecca Dutton, Randy Gino, we talked about a lot, Cassandra Russ, Whitney the Whip, Stidham OTR here, making her debut on Saturday Night Live, it seems, as well as Sarah McMaster. Coffee break isn't working that time well. Hilarious. You're funny.
Keep trying.
Yeah, keep trying. Keep trying. It'll work eventually. Just keep pressing the button. I think this is the team to beat out here right now, Dave, because they've got the numbers still involved, and I just get the feeling that they're doing the work that they need to and picking off points like a chess match more than necessarily just a solo exercise effort. Right? They're putting in the work when they need to and then backing off.
Yeah, is the word methodical? I think it is
word.
Something close to that. Yeah. Definitely these women know what they're doing. There's a tremendous amount of experience. If you look at the experience to watts ratio out here, this is always one of the best races. Let's see what we've got now. As I feel like the rite of passage of becoming a level 75 Zwifter, I don't think they make you wear the Scotty the Squirrel hat, but not many people turn it down.
No, they don't. And I think definitely having plenty of people loving that new hat. Joey, let's go here now. Level 74, having a good ride, it looks like, trying to chase down the Suji from Lincoln with the hat.
She's
Revo.
Oh, I thought it was 75 that you got the hat. I apologize.
Well,
so
she's level 74 right now, so I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what
what's
level
going
it is,
on.
but she definitely has the hat on.
That's a fact. All right. Well, I mean, if you got the hat, you got the hat. It's really not my business how you got it. So taking a look now, that's Joey Lithgow that we're talking about, the Revo rider. But this peloton is right now, Nathan, another couple riders might even rejoin, which is virtually unheard of at this level. But let's take a look, because once they start sprinting, everything changes. That sprint coming up here, like I said, in a couple hundred meters. So unfortunately for those two riders, I don't know that they're going to be able to latch back on, because there should be a sonic boom heard all over McCurry here in just a moment. You're going to see that flashing green line that brings the sector start to the peloton, and here we go. All right, Nathan, this is going to be an interesting one. Lot of points that still matter, and we are now officially into the segment.
Yeah, and here we go. Look at all these power-ups being thrown down. Big watts being thrown down. Lincoln off the front again, as she has been, but it's going to be D. Woods Turner. No, now coming on through. Is it going to be the Dinos? Maggie Carden may be able to take this down. She's always a danger woman, but it's going to be ATP. Clark, she's always so dangerous in these sprints. Takes it down. It's going to be two Dinos right behind, though. Nice job by Stephanie Clark. They're losing a leg. Losing a leg.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all losing legs in this one. All right.
We're not shocked, because we've seen it earlier today. Everything's fine. It'll all work out.
People who are just here for the Americas broadcast are like, what is going on with the legs? Like,
the commentators aren't freaked out by that. It's like, well, they're experienced. They've seen this.
Yeah, for some reason, just so everybody knows, that there's like one of our Zwifts here seems to have that. So
that
Dutton,
right there. Whoever the engine, the engineer in charge of legs needs to punch back in and
get close
fixed.
enough, the legs are fine. So
yeah, there's this certain window of distance that seems to exasperate the problem, but everything's copacetic as we take a look. Stephanie Clark is a closer, Nathan. I've been so impressed by her, and I think I saw some chatter there that she had a busy weekend of maybe not racing, maybe it was racing. I don't know that there's all that much racing in North America here in late January, but they do get things going down in Florida and Texas.
Yeah,
and
there's been a couple
Arizona.
of little openers
Sure.
really
Yeah.
early openers actually that I noticed. So interesting. That's been interesting to see. Percival now on the move on the men's
They're not
side
racing
of
in
things.
Wisconsin.
No,
yet.
I mean they're not racing
Likes-
because it got wet and warm. We were supposed to have some races, but they're getting canceled actually. But yeah, of course, snow bikes. It's
Crazy.
just fat bikes. So, Percival Flores trying to come across from the Swabies. He got a good jump on him, and I think that jump is just a little bit too much. This is a lesson to be learned, that's for sure. Pat Node now trying to come through. OTE DW Originals. That's going to be the order 1, 2, 3.
Swami's is one of the Southern California teams that has I'm going to guess that the Swami's ride is probably into its fourth decade, goes back to the 80s. It might even go back to the 60s now that I think about it. But one of those rides where when you show up and there'll be Olympians and world champions. Southern California has a really interesting cycling community where it's more than just Southern Californians, but a lot of folks from around the world that have raced have immigrated to the United States, and LA is obviously a really popular place. So you get quite a community there. If you ever are in Southern California and you want to go for a fast, hard ride, that's Swami's ride. And it's one of the coolest clubs out there as well. So that's our friends from Swami's. It's great to see them out on Zwift. This is Pat now that we're looking at now, the OTE rider in a group of, I don't know,
Just
probably call that
coming
around
back together.
30.
Yeah, they're just barely coming back together here. I wanted to get that good view from the helicopter to see how and whether or not there's any attacks over the top to try and perhaps spread this out again. I do think it's about 30. That's a good call there, Dave, as they head back on over toward their third sprint through the tide pool in a moment here, and then on over toward Shisha. And Dave, this is the second half of the race now. I'm being told in chat that this is absolute carnage in the men's race. Well, if it's carnage there, what is this? Because on the women's side of things, as they hit some dirt, it is opening up as they hit the downhill after the corkscrew. Lincoln from Synergy again. She just is nonstop. She doesn't like the sprint. She likes to get some distance. And look, that's why she's got these wheels on, Dave. I think this has everything to do with it. She wants to break away and that's why this wheel set. She likes to climb.
That's the lightweight wheel set that absolutely. I think that's a great strategic decision that we're looking at from Heather Lincoln. She's had quite a ride out here for Synergy. And look at the mix of teams chasing now. These women really came to race out here today. That's a fantastic shot, too, as you take a look at her shoulder, that ominous view of the group. But for her now, the magic number is going to be this 28.6 is the Shisha sprint that she's going to be looking for to try to collect those 10 points. I like her chances. Well, there's the group.
They responded quickly.
Their chances.
Yeah, they responded really quickly. Sisu said, no, as it's Merritt here with the ZRL helmet. Look at this is she's got some good fashion sense going on here, in my opinion.
That's it.
The orange socks, the orange canyon, little accents, orange on the Sisu, the ZRL orange. I mean, I got to give this a pretty high rating, actually, when it comes to the look.
That's a champion's helmet as well that she's wearing there. We talked, Yep. So, yep. We got ourselves a legend on the front right now for the mighty, mighty Sisu team. This Canadian is rolling it here for the Vuelta squad.
Nicely done. As Merritt, have we, let me see if we've taken a look at Merritt's profile yet so far.
I'm not familiar with Merritt. We are now. That's how you make your name.
Here's Bren Merritt
right off
coming out of Canada, it looks like. Working
Canadian top that she's wearing there in real life.
I wonder if we're going to see her at the
maple syrup
Nationals.
industry.
She needs to get involved at Canada versus the World.
Oh,
with us.
Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly, Bren. I hope we see you on Sunday. It's for the first time we're going to be covering the Canadian Nationals. Awesome job picking that one up, Nathan. Really excited for that. It's actually Nationals in a couple of weeks. This week, as you said, it's Canada versus the world, kind of a warm-up, as we did with the Echelon Racing League, a little more abbreviated, but we're really excited to have that opportunity, as is that giant pelican or albatross up there above our peloton.
Did you really see it again?
Now,
Oh my gosh, there
yep.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a bunch of them. Look at all of them. There's a whole bunch of them. What's going on here? Alicia from Ray-Von, though, United States. That looks like
Speaking
Minnesota,
of
Wisconsin. I mean, this is a rider who's hanging out in the backyard for me here, most likely.
Absolutely. If she's not in Wisconsin, I'll be stunned, to tell you the truth. It's got all of the right ingredients for a nice Wisco disco out there. So this group's spinning out across the road. Nathan, they're getting close to the finale now. We're going to wrap things up just inside of 36K out here. So as you watch another surge, Joey Lithgow moving back up to the front with Carolyn Jones riding on point, on fleek. No doubt about it, is Carolyn Jones. Carolyn DeFore was her name just a year ago before she got married. She met her husband through the sport of cycling. She actually had a really tough crash at Tulsa Tough, ended up in the hospital where her United team was. Yeah, it was a really romantic, great story where her husband now, who was then they were just starting to date, he proved his mettle by the way that he looked after her in the hospital, and that was all she wrote as far as their relationship goes. But a tragic thing happened that turned into a real blessing for those two.
That's awesome. Really cool story to hear. And good to hear that still racing and seeing her out here hammering away. Now, this is the Synergy team. Yeah. Team definitely to be watching out for out here, I think, as Heather continues to press forward. They're 165, 277. You can see the rest of the crew sitting in a little bit more. Look at the differentiation and power there as we see Lincoln press off the front, 250 or so. The rest of the team having to respond a little bit as they sit in the pack, but not really. I think perhaps Barnes off the back, but Hull and Chastain, I think, still in there when it comes to the front group.
All right. I've seen, Andrew Benke, Nathan, one of our longtime community members, telling me that these Swamis are actually from Ann Arbor on the men's side of things. So I don't feel too bad because
Michigan.
Right. The Swamis ride is everything I said was true. It's different Swamis apparently that we're talking about. So thank you, Andrew. I've seen Andrew out there at many Belgian waffle rides. Great guy. Another person that really the avatar
he does the Belgian waffle rides, really.
100%. Yeah.
That's so
brings
great
a
to
lot
hear.
Yeah. Great guy. So, okay, Nathan, but I do want to recognize when I'm wrong, too. Don't want to just let that sit out there. We got our Michigan Swamis in full effect. We got Heather Lincoln rolling the front now for the women.
Time well. Aeonian on the move. But is she going to be able to hold on? This is a little bit different sprint than we saw last time. Not as strung out, and this is where the danger is at if you let people sit on, because Steve Jones from the Honeybees, did she go? Oh, that was close.
I give it to Carolyn.
You think so? I think you're right. You're right. So. Woo! That was a close one.
Nathan, I want to get back to what you're saying. You make a great point. These sprints become really different at the heavy legs. You don't see riders bouncing around like a pinball out there. It's more like they're sprinting through wet cement, to tell you the truth.
Now,
this must be a replay?
No, this isn't a replay. This is
live action. Okay,
live action up and over the top. Now, as Stidham, what's our methane now going over the top? Lincoln still there. What's going on behind? As we've got just a couple of riders just off the back here trying to grab back on it. It's actually Cassandra Rush and Lithgow. This is what? Oh my gosh. Can Cassandra get back on terms?
And it must be a power dropout, because these are two of the stronger riders to in this race. Really big surprise to see them in this situation.
Look at the tank here, Dave. Crush It has crushed herself here. I mean, that tank is empty. And now to 3.4, 193 beats per minute. Lithgow now trying to come through, it looks like, here as well. So, I mean, they've got to work together hard here to try and bring this back, Dave, because it's 1 second up, and that can go out to 5 real quick.
Yeah, well, and they are going to rejoin. I'll admit I'm a little surprised. Look at just the effort that it takes. Now they don't want to overcook it, as they do know that they're going to rejoin with 6K to go. So file that under a big surprise.
Yeah, it just goes to show if there's any attention at all through that
What was the name of the rider, Nathan, who was chasing from the start line, who had that mechanical? I want to check in on her. That's 37 minutes ago. She was in the red zone. If she's still in this group, she should be really proud. I can't remember who that was now.
I'll see if I can find the name.
Yeah, I didn't mean to give you work there on your end, but just I feel like that was an interesting storyline to watch. When you pay a price that big early, this is where theoretically the devil has come to get his due. Or her due, whatever the case may be, as we take a look now at Cassandra Rush, who's rejoined this group. There's the Pelican. Sweet.
Pelican.
He's always there.
What's the team that she was riding for, too, would be a good one.
Right. It's funny how I can't remember now.
I feel like it was a dyno, maybe.
And she chased for, I remember watching the clock, and it was 1 minute and 50 seconds or so when she was able to rejoin the peloton. But she was redlining it there through that whole beginning. And then things start off with the sprint. That boardwalk sprint comes at you in the first 2K. So this has been that kind of day out here. 8 sprints throughout 36K of racing. And at this point now, it's tide pool sprint and then on into the finish line.
Yeah, and now as we're getting into the business end of the race here, there's big points at the finish line, isn't there, Dave? I think is it 40 at the line? I'm not incorrect. 35
Correct, for the winner.
Yeah, so that is a lot of points that are on the line here to try and grab. So let's see what ends up happening.
It makes you think about strategy too when you realize that, how big of an effort do you make to pick up FAL points? You have to make an effort for them. You can't just write that off and expect to get the 40 at the finish and everything being good. But you also don't want to get too sucked into the dark star that can be losing sight of the forest for the trees.
I like that. Don't get too stuck into the dark star.
Well, when you focus so much on one sprint in a race like this, all of a sudden you end up underwater. So taking a look now, this is really going to be a big windup. For my thought would be watch out for that counterattack after the tide pool sprint. That's where you're vulnerable here. So, again, you want to be up there. You want to be contesting, but you don't want to.
There you go, just for you. It was
nice.
Galatro.
It was Galatro. She is in the front group, I believe.
Really?
Thank you, though, Nathan. Perfect. So that's the rider we were talking about, the Sisu rider who had the mechanical. Now we'll see where she is now, 50 minutes and 30 seconds later. I'm hoping we saw her name in this group, but it's not looking great.
Looking through here, see if I can find where she's at on course. Here, I got her. She's in second group, it looks like, on the chase here. 41st right now, hanging out with, it looks like, Orange from Synergy, as well as
a nice
O'Brien
workwoman-like
from,
group.
yeah. And they're just coming over the top of the Shishu sprint here at this point. So, little ways back, maybe third or fourth group now, but nice little group that she's working with.
Here's probably the best point, Nathan, is that she could have pulled the pin at that moment. Plenty of riders would have said, it becomes a forget it moment. Not her. She decided to keep racing. That's the kind of rider I want on my team.
Yeah, 100%.
My fictional team that I run.
Yeah. Well, you were invited to race tonight, actually, if you wanted to race.
Good.
Yeah, there were a couple of people saying there's a spot on a D team and a C team, actually. Shout out to Henry Hardy out there. I was going to say something to you, and then I was like, well, I kind of need him on commentary tonight. I don't know if I'm going to put him on camera, but you got a spot if you want one, Dave, just so you know. Mike from OTR here. I gotta shout this out quick as they're heading to this line here. This is all the way over the top of the Shisha here. They broke away on the climb. OTR doing it again. Rides is right on the wheel. Behind, there's a sprint here for the points for second through third. Percival's is gonna make it. Ooh, yep, just barely. But
2-3.
Yeah, OTR.
I believe
domination.
Percival's also OTR.
Yeah, nicely done.
Wow. Boy, that is a lot of points. So we were talking about the 40 points that you get for the win. They picked up over 30 points, I believe, through that one bonus interval. So that's what I'm talking about. Carolyn Jones is a one-woman wrecking crew. Does she hold on? Not quite here. She's going to get rolled at the line, but she'll pick up second place points behind Yvonne Timewell, a legend on that Aeonian team here. So these are the heavy hitters that we got up on the front. Here we go into the finale. I was talking about Aeonian's monster squad. Look how well positioned. This might be an Aeonian masterclass being delivered here, Nathan.
Yeah, what's going to happen here now? I mean, late in the game at this point with these kind of numbers, always dangerous with Aeonian here. But OTR over the top now. Dave, Aeonian votes. Is that the story here? But no, ATP is actually the leaders right now. Aeonian are fourth place, but this is going to be a shakeup in the standings, I think, today.
Oh, boy, it really is, Nathan. And, well, let's just do some quick inventory. Does any team have 5? Yes, Aeonian. That answers my question there. Aeonian has the entire squad in this group. That's a huge advantage. They make up 1/4 of the peloton at this point, Nathan.
Oh
ATP,
gosh, wow.
on the efforts of, they make up 1/4 of this group, with ATP having 2 riders. Jump on top of it if I'm wrong, Nathan, but I think I see 2 for ATP. OTR with a couple. Revo has Boychuk here. She's been great today. But this is an Aeonian masterclass.
I mean, OTR's
right now,
got
folks.
the numbers, though, too. OTR's got the numbers here, too, but they're in 6th place right now overall. Aeonian in 4th place overall. ATP really, I mean, they were real good on race number 1, but here in the sprints today, Dave, they have fallen back because of the difficulty of this course, I think. You know, and is Clark even here? That's the big question, because she's usually the one that's the standout rider, but did she get dropped from this main pack?
I think it's 2 things, Nathan. I think it's the difficulty of the course compounded by the sprint schedule that was set up. This is like intervals from hell, to tell you the truth, out here.
Is that the workout name? Did you write that one yet? Oh, man.
ITH
I don't think that one.
workouts.
Yeah, ITH workouts. ITH workouts. It's a good one. As Lincoln now, is she going to just ramp things up for Synergy and try and get a sprint to happen for the team? Is there even anybody in it? No, I don't think there's another Synergy rider here, actually. Dinos, though, trying to do something, Dave. Dinos now, they are 4 strong, moving to the front. Watch out for the Dinos. I have a feeling that they want to make something happen as Alicia. Now, from the Dino B Juicers now to the front. Nope, Stidham on it now real quickly. We're right into the last 700 meters.
Okay, here we go. So that's a great catch, though. Important to note that the Dinos really are on par with what Aeonian's got. That's going to be Sisu and Lisa Ulrich off of the front. The Voita rider out of Canada has been one of the animators out here. She's going to throw her feather power up. And let's see now what we've got, Nathan. It's going to be Heather Lincoln from Synergy over the top. This is it. We're into the final 400 meters. It's really a serpentine run into the finish line. You don't see that arch until about 150 meters to go with Heather on the front.
Yeah, and usually it's the early go that does get it here. Will Gino go early? I haven't seen a punch yet. Here comes the B Juicers, 9.3 watts per kilogram, but Gino goes very, very early. Honeybees, Jones, now with the kick. It's off in the distance still. They can't even really see it just yet. I think Gino, she learned. This is it. The way you do it, you get the gap early. It can't be closed down, and Gino makes it happen. Dave, we talked about her having a post up. Well, she did it, and she gets the post up, Dave, because she had a distance at that one. Loving Randy Gino.
Love it, Randy. Definitely. And I have a feeling Randy might have watched the broadcast earlier today. As Nathan, you talked about how that is the technique without any doubt. It's when in doubt, lead it out, which is exactly what Randy Gino did for the win. Randy, you are champion standard for us today. So almost an hour of intense racing for our B women today. That was well earned, and we found a worthy winner. We'll see how the points start out. You can always go to WTRL.racing, but back in with the guys, Nathan, as they're into their finale now. In all honesty, this is Tide Pool Sprint that we're looking at.
Yeah, Towle sprint coming right on up in just about a K or so. It's going to be on the front here. Johnson now making a move. That's going to be for the Giant AHDR team. But he's not getting any distance. I thought they was going to try and make a move, but no, it's all back together now. It looks like just leading things out as USMES is right on his wheel.
Okay, so there's 2 more points scoring opportunities here. Obviously, the finish with the 40 points for the winner, 35 for second, is critical if you want to be on the top of the table after this Donnybrook that we've had out here today on McCurry Islands. This is Island Hopper. You get to see just about every inch of the island or every millimeter of the island, but right now these guys are going to be seeing red. We're just a few hundred meters from entering the tide pool sprint. Wouldn't anticipate the FTS coming out of this group, but this next sprint should see pandemonium as
Look,
you are really
bar.
exposed.
Look at that bar empty. The moment that he starts the kick here, Dave, up into 5.7, uses this arrow power up. Dave, he goes before he even hits the green line at all here. There's response from behind this time around. They're not letting this go.
No, but he is forcing the issue. Canadians really Canuck up out here, but I think he's, wow, all right, there's the catch, and we've got a new leader. It's going to be Percival here, his teammate with him. So OTR has been destroying this field here over the last couple of sprints, and they went 1, 2, 3 at the last sprint. This time they're going to go 1, 2, and maybe 4, but another great bonus there for OTR.
Ooh, yikes. That was a close one there. That was a close one. As Phil Rides came on through. Nice spots. One. Yeah, I mean, OTR, are they the ones to really take this down out here today is going to be a big question. That was a lot of effort, though, for not the finish line, but the finish line coming in just about 2K at this point. So they've got a little group forming at the front here. These guys got to work to try and get back on terms. This isn't going to come back easily, Dave. They've set up 45 kilometers per hour, up ahead 47. This is kind of getting away from them now as they've got plenty of riders. OTR should press the pace, I think, in my opinion, with at least one rider. Let the other 2 sit in.
Hear what you're saying, or at least they're feeling that vibe, because you're absolutely right. So there's a little bit of a moment where you think, wow, that was a huge effort to get those points and we're exposed, but now, well, it is going to come back together. So OTR did not lean heavy enough into the accelerator there. Here's your catch. Now they're really exposed. There could be a counterattack here. They've got to be aware. Everybody's going to be at their limit. It's just been body blow after body blow being thrown, and now it is officially on like Donkey Kong as we get ready to bring this one to the finish.
Look at this setup from this rider here. This is
That's
some
the coolest helmet I've seen.
This
ever.
Is high level stuff from Yeti. Actually,
where's
here.
Anna Russell?
This is
get Anna on the horn.
Level 100. The show off here, just so you know. That's what's going on. That's why I knew right away when I saw that helmet. I was like, that is a high level helmet here coming in from the USMES guy. So good to see Yeti here showing off. The only reason I've seen it, well, it's in house. I mean, I've got a level 100 rider garage in house right now, so that's the only way I get to see that. But Yeti continuing on. This is an interesting little press off here, Dave. This is like a sneak away because it's not a lot that makes the alarm bells go, but it's enough that there could be something that happens from it because Johnson gets right on the wheel.
Yeti's press agent must have told him to attack because we had to see that helmet. That is absolutely awesome. And here we go. We're down into the hundreds of meters remaining. You just saw the women go through this serpentine run into the finish line. We've talked about it, Nathan, a million times, but now we say go early, and that's exactly what we're seeing here from Jay Harding.
Is this too early, though? That's the big question. Joel Harding now on the attack here. Is this going to work out? Ned Bowen now responding very quickly. Not a rider you want to take to the line with you. I do like it, too. With the downhill now into 52 kilometers per hour, it might be too much speed to be able to take him down at this point. He's gone, Dave. I don't think they see him again if he can continue. They're going to come fast, though. It's a little earlier than we've seen successful so far today, but it might work.
Yeah, I think he's got just enough of a buffer, even using the placebo draft to his effect. It's all about believing. There's 2 fake finish lines before you hit the real one. It's going to be a photo finish. I think they might just get him, Nathan. He made a great play. We said go early. He did just a little too early, as it's going to be Pat Note coming through the OTE rider with Ned Bowen. Draft is back for second. So a lot of points to be distributed out there. And this one is done and dusted. An incredible 51 minutes and 46 seconds of racing for them to put paid. Now it's time to start counting back all the points.
Well, let's quickly go through. We do have, I want to make sure we don't lose the women's results. So we're going to look at those real quickly here, and then we'll take a look at those men's that just finished up. There's Randy Gino posting up at the top.
I would say that she has officially unlocked hero status here in the Zwift community with that finish today. Randy Gino, you are my hero. Great effort. And look at the watts per kilo. No one else even in her neighborhood at that finish. No wonder she had that picture of her with one arm in the air. There's rarely anyone around when she finishes. It's Carolyn Jones. Carolyn Jones, great to see you. Can't wait for her season now as Carolyn takes silver today. Debbie Woods-Turner, as we look through our top 10 at the finish line today, the Aeonian rider, the DWT, Debbie Woods-Turner for third, Chris in fourth, Yvonne Timewell in fifth, Katie Atkins for sixth today, Ginny Lupo in seventh, Sarah McMaster. She certainly made her name out there in eighth. Alicia, the Dinos rider from the Bee Juicers and the Ravon team in ninth, and then Joey Lithgow up there in our top 10 today for the Bee women. It's been Bee racing all day today, which has been a real treat to get to know some of these athletes better. And for the men now, you can see our top 10 here at the finish line. All the points will be added up amongst the teams to see who ends up with the 20 points on top of the table. But Brad Patno did his part there with a blistering sprint. Only Nick comparable in numbers out there, but Brad timed it perfectly for the win. Ned Bowen and his draft team were all over this race today, and Ned'll end up in second with Joel Harding there for third. So that early attack does hold on for third at the finish. Not bad at all. Dan West in for fourth, Nick Friedel for fifth, Red for sixth, Ben for seventh, Craig Brackens in eighth, Ryan Johnson. As we look at our top 10 at the finish line, Ryan was ninth, and then Jamie Percival rounds out our top 10 here. There's so much more to the story as we finish the second of 6 races here of season 3. Good to be back on the McCurry Islands, one of the most visually stimulating worlds that we see in Zwift. Always,
yeah, I would really wish we could bring in some points for everybody, but the point situation, from what I'm seeing here, not loading up for us. So apologies on that, everybody. I wanted to bring in league standings at the end as well, but we'll see if we can get that. We'll have that all fixed by next week with the TTT, as you have to have data for team time trials. But it was good show out here for being able to see all the sprints, and also to the line for the ladies and the men in the B1s and for the B1s. It sounds like it was good. It sounds like it was a really good race across the A's as well. I did see Josh Lippica jumping in and saying it was going to be Aeonian's going to be tough to beat tonight. And Riot versus Aeonian sounds like what it was in the A women. I also saw Angela Roberts making some posts actually about fixing something last minute or something. So, man, we'll have to maybe get some socials going to see what was going on with that. But if you do want to check all that out, it's a great community over on our social media, actually, over at Z Community Live over on Instagram. A lot of interactions happening over there. We do tend to share things out as well, so make sure to follow over there. Dave will be back on, Sunday.
Right.
For the Canada versus the world. We just scheduled those on YouTube. So go ahead and check out Canada versus the world on Sunday, and then we will have the Canadian Esports National Championships the following week. Do not forget to hit those notification buttons. I think it's going to be just as hype as what we've seen with the American U.S. National Championships. Today, tough day. I'm going to go race my bike now in about an hour. So,
good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's for sure. We've been in the weight room a little bit more. I think we've got a good kick. It's just whether or not the endurance is still there. After a long day of commentating and hanging out here with the community. But it's been a lot of fun, today with the community. Definitely, I love going across all the categories and seeing everybody getting their fitness going into the season in real life as well. I definitely have that sense that you had talked about, Dave, that a lot of these riders starting to ramp up as we see some old names and new names.
Yeah, it's such a fun time of the year. Nathan, I mean, I truly think that at some point everybody else racing with you should have to sit in a chair and produce esports for 8 hours leading into racing because I don't know how you do it, to be honest. But I'm going to give you a verbal ride on now. I'm on Zwift Companion app, so I'll give you a ride on during the race. And I'll actually, you know what? I'll head over to your Twitch channel because I want to see how you go. My word of advice is don't go for every sprint out there.
Well, you know me, I can hardly hold back. I've been thinking all day about how I'm going to do that exactly. So the fitness isn't quite, Gabby went for like every single one, I think.
Patience, young
but
grasshopper.
her fitness is just insane right now. Whereas I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah. But I'll see how it goes. I will be live on Twitch in a little bit if anybody wants to check that out. But all right, everybody, thanks a lot for hanging out with us here on Zwift Community Live. You can hit those notification bells, follow buttons, comment, like. It does help out a ton. You can also check out what's up with the podcast over at zwiftcommunitylive.com/podcast. There's some great NPC stories actually going out. Gabby put one together earlier about the NPCs, the non-player characters that are out there in the worlds of McCurry and Watopia. So if you do have any stories you want to, fictional stories or stories that you actually have real, if you're just a game designer,
if
you know exactly
an interaction with an NPC, then let us know.
To hear about it. Yeah, it'd be great to hear. But other than that, we'll see you for the wrap on Thursday and Canada versus the world on Sunday. Thanks everybody for tuning in. You know the drill. Right on.
Let them see your perfect